I'm Lance Phillips. It's ugly, but it's not Christmas, and I gotta wear it this whole show.
I'm Chris King. I've never seen anything more beautiful than Lance Phillips today. God, he looks great.
It's horrible.
It's wonderful. You look good in that.
Absolutely atrocious.
It's like you were made for that sweater.
I could easily say that I'm not a fan of this team, you know, but this sweater makes me not a fan of this team.
But everyone likes the Steelers, so...
No. Maybe everyone likes the Steelers, but not everyone likes this sweater. It's absolutely horrific. I got to put my jacket on. I'll get to it in a minute. Lance Phillips, Chris King with you for The Gloves Are Off. As you can see, we got a few different things on the set here. We have, just like everyone else, been mourning the loss of life in just north of Humboldt. First of all, you can reach out to us on Twitter at Gloves TV, Facebook at The Gloves Newcap. I think, Kinger, that we all felt the same way when we first saw this come down the pipe Friday, that shock.
Just shock and disappointment for those families and the hockey team. It's a terrible moment in the sporting community, not just hockey, but the whole sporting community.
So this jersey comes courtesy of Trevor Lloyd, who I met for the first time at the vigil that they held in Lloydminster at the Civic. He actually gave the jersey right off his back. He was wearing it, and he gave it to me right off his back after we chatted on camera. So big shout out to Trevor for giving us that. He wore this. He was a player for the Humboldt Broncos, I think he said 25 years ago, and this was his jersey. So we're really, really glad to have that on set for today.
And kind of what it entails, right? The giving process. Trevor was 86-87 for the Humboldt Broncos.
86-87, yeah. So, I mean, he's familiar with being on a bus and all that comes with that. So you can be sure that our show is going to be heavily laden with some Humboldt Broncos chat. It's in our Twitter segment. We are not talking about it in our opening block. Our opening block is typically pretty opinion-based. We have a tendency to rant at one another, and that's not really the form to talk about Humboldt Broncos. So we've reserved the last part of the show when we're going to discuss that. But we are going to get started, Kinger, with some exciting news from the Masters that happened this weekend. Day one, in fact. Sergio Garcia decided to put 5 balls in the drink on the 15th hole and finished with an 8 over 13. Really reminiscent of Tin Cup, Kinger. I need to know who did it better, Sergio or Roy McAvoy?
Well, I think Roy McAvoy did it better because he just butchered the whole thing. He was going for broke. He wasn't about losing.
Well, and I think he was hitting with a 3-way.
Yeah, and he hit with a baseball bat earlier in the movie.
Actually, Sergio would have had a better time hitting with a baseball bat. If he'd pulled out a bat and hit it actually not like a baseball, but like a golf ball, he would have done better.
I have to say, after watching those shots, those were phenomenal shots. They were all within like 8 feet of the pin, backspin, like it was beautiful to watch.
If we're saying who did it better as it pertains to the shot quality, Sergio did it better. Who did it better as for entertainment value? I think Roy McAvoy did it better. But you're right, like if there's no backspin on those, they're probably on the green and staying.
Well, and if the green isn't slanted like my pen.
Yeah.
Like the one point, I think it was the third shot that went in the water, the ball actually stopped.
Yeah, it almost came to a complete stop.
And then it kept rolling. I couldn't believe that green was allowed to play like that for the whole weekend.
And the thought of, hey, tournament's over. My tournament is over right now. I'm 8 over par on the 15th hole just for one hole.
Yeah.
I'm done. Like you're finished at that point. You would have to have an unbelievable next round to even get back into the hunt.
Well, I think that's the shame when we see this happen to a PGA pro is they're actually losing money, their livelihood. It's not like in the movie where an amateur just playing in the tourney for the first time. Like he's losing his livelihood. So that was rough to watch, and you could see him go through his range of emotions. Now the nice thing is that Sergio bounced back and birdied later and kind of brought his round back to respectable despite having 8 over par on that hole.
I'm not sure I've seen anything quite like it. It was one of the most unbelievable displays of, and the fact that he kept his composure through it was incredible to me. If that's me out there, I'm smashing clubs. I'm smashing clubs, I'm throwing clubs. I'm doing the Happy Gilmore to my caddy, for sure.
I'd probably leave my clubs on the course and just walk away on that. Smashing was what happened at the UFC this weekend. Conor McGregor took basically a pallet jack and threw it through a bus while going after some guys. Lance, what do you think Dana White should do in terms of Conor McGregor?
I know what he should do, and what he should do and what he will do are two different things. What he should do is say, you are suspended from the UFC until further notice, until they decide a time that he should come back. He is their money guy. He's the guy that's making the money. So will Dana White do that? There's no way he's doing that. But if you want to do the right thing here, it's time to suspend Conor McGregor and get him some help until he gets his acting gear. Yeah. We've crossed the line. Now we're way over the line.
And he's slowly been drifting this way for a while.
Yeah, he has.
And unfortunately, we don't know what this was about. But when Dana White came out, he came out very hard and said that this was a criminal act. There's no need for this. He was all over him. And now, a few days removed, now he's backpedaling on this, saying we have a good relationship, there's an understanding there. Yeah. So once again, Dana White gets paid from the UFC.
Of course he does. So he's got to have his money man in there, and that is Conor McGregor right now. Do you think he should be suspended?
Oh,
Definitely?
100%.
Are you putting a definitive timeline on this, or are you saying you're basically suspended till I decide you're not?
I would say at least a year. It would be my suspension, if not 2. Now, that hurts his purse, but it hurts the UFC's bottom line. But
and if you want to do something, even take it a little step further, which I don't have a problem with, we're taking back your other belt too. They're already taking the one, hence the reason he got absolutely up in arms. Well, but they should take the other one.
And where this hurts UFC is they get a bad rep, right? Because it is mixed martial arts and it's not quite the same as boxing. But if they're looking for a new TV contract deal and this type of stuff's happening, that's not good for public television.
But here's the thing, is that I believe the majority of MMA and UFC viewers love that stuff. And because they love that stuff, it means that the contract is probably easier to get because people want to see more of that.
So just glorified WWE basically is what it's turning into. Right?
It's almost there. I mean, that's essentially what it is. When it comes to the NHL and officiating, of course, there's lots of negative talk that goes around that. But some of the positive comes around Wes McCauley, who is always the emphatic, enjoyable official to watch on the ice if you like that kind of thing, making his review calls. No goal! Kinger, is it time to stop the antics if you're Wes McCauley?
No, 100% not. He's fantastic on the ice. I think he has great communication with the players and the coaches. And as a player or a coach, that's what you want out of an official.
Sure.
I think it's fantastic. If you look at umps get to punch guys out and have a little flair. Go for it. Have flair.
The argument is being made that people don't come to the rink to watch officials. They come to watch players. But in the world of interviewing players and all that kind of stuff after, I think this is kind of refreshing. And I'd like to see more of it, actually. I wouldn't like to see less of it. I'd like to see more of it. If they're going to have these reviews and they're going to have these lengthy reviews and they're gonna put people to sleep in the stands, you need to have something to liven them up a bit. And I don't have a problem with this at all.
Well, and it's shown he's well respected by the players, right? He was voted the best ref last year at 47.8%. The second highest vote was Kelly Sutherland at 17.8%. That's a huge difference.
It's massive.
So they look at him as the best ref. And honestly, if you make the right calls.
Is he the best official or is he the most entertaining official?
Well, I think he's the most entertaining, but I think the players, when you read what the players say about him, the players seem to really respect that he'll be like, hey, tone down the stick, not the time.
And I think
how you doing?
That's hugely important and cannot be overstated enough. That if the players like the official, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and especially at the pro level, because that respect goes a long way and it goes through the locker rooms and guys are talking about it like, hey, we want them in our game in the playoffs.
You know how much officials hate you.
Yeah,
you know how much that is, right?
A lot.
So imagine you had some respect for some of these officials. It would probably make your games a lot smoother, no?
Yeah, it probably would, but you know what the nice thing about watching him is there's no grudges, right? And that's what sometimes we struggle with at like lower levels.
Well, I don't think the officials struggle. They don't struggle at all. They have a grudge. I think they have a grudge against you, and I feel like you have a strong one against them as well.
So you've noticed this? Hey, new game for me.
Just an outsider's view.
Hey, game to game, new game for me. Let's play. Whatever happens, happens. Last game's done. Can't believe you brought that up. That's awesome. Lance, a 79-year-old competed at the Commonwealth Games. What is your enthusiasm for this? He just roasted me here about the officials. Unbelievable.
Honestly, my enthusiasm is really high with this. I get the opinion you don't like this and you don't care for it. I think it's incredible. I don't care what he was doing. I think it's amazing that there was a nearly 80-year-old man in the Commonwealth Games and doing well.
Yeah, and he broke, I think, a 78-year-old's record, a lawn bowler, for the record.
You can't make this stuff up.
His sport is, I think, parachuting. I can't quite understand how that works. He's got a female partner. I don't know if they shoot together. But regardless, I'm a big fan of sport for life. I don't care what it is. Shooting is like fringy on terms of sport.
I thought you weren't enthusiastic about this. Not too long ago, you were saying, what he looks like he's just shooting
I
stuff.
don't. Yeah, okay, you're right. Like he is shooting stuff. That, to me, it's not a sport, and you're gonna get me like pigeonholed here with a lot of other sports that I'm fringy on in terms of the athletic ability. But he's at least doing something. He's got something to keep his mind active. That's all it's about. Now, this man has an interesting story where he actually stopped someone on a plane. That was the part of the story I really liked.
So the backstory is incredible. Like, he thwarted off a terrorist attack on a plane, basically, which is unbelievable. So just that alone, he could have been the last place person in the Commonwealth Games. The fact that he thwarted a possible terrorist attack or a hijacking on a plane, that's he's been in the Army or the Navy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was the Army. And honestly, if I'm that age and I'm sane, which I know I won't be, I will be fully insane by coaching females for however long I do. I would love to be able to go travel the world and do whatever sport I'm into, whether it's lawn darts or lawn bowling or whatever it is.
Fully insane.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
Listen,
I'm already.
There needs to be more 80 to 90-year-old men in the Commonwealth Games. There was a video that came out not so long ago of like 6 older dudes that were running a 100-meter sprint. I don't know if you saw it.
I think I saw that.
Like, listen, that'll never get old. There actually should be in the Olympic Games an actual class.
The seniors
for
class.
those, a seniors class. I'm telling you right now, I'd pay whatever it took to watch that stuff. I am going to butcher this name, Shohei Ohtani. I don't even know if it's the first name that I'm not sure about, Kinger. It's the first one. Listen, this guy is pitching for the Anaheim Angels, and he's hitting home runs at a pace that I don't think anyone saw. What's he got, 3 home runs so far, Kinger?
Yep.
He's striking guys out like a man on fire. Is this the next? No, not even is this. Is he the next Babe Ruth?
Oh, he's playing like it, and that's what he came over advertised as. I do want to point out that whenever we talk about Ohtani, I always have to intro him. So I've seen the common occurrence here is that I had to intro him.
Ohtani,
now,
the last name's not a problem. It's the first.
Listen, he's been phenomenal. I dogged on him all spring training. He was bad. His ERA was like 21. He was batting 100. Last start, he had 12 Ks.
Nobody cares what happens in spring training.
Yeah, well, spring training doesn't mean anything ultimately, right? 12 Ks in 7 innings. Oakland A's looked silly against him. 100-mile-per-hour fastball, 88-mile-per-hour splitter, and all of his home runs, I had to go back on MLB TV to watch this, all of his home runs dead center, which means he's hitting the ball.
He's hitting them a long way.
Square.
Yeah, he's hitting them a long way.
And he's got kind of like the Ichiro stance where he like kind of pops out. So it shows me that he's really strong and well put together.
You know, is he the next Babe Ruth? I don't think you can say that at all right now. We're way too early in the season or too early in his MLB career to even talk like that. But it's impressive. And I don't know that we're going to see another Babe Ruth in our lifetime. We didn't even see the original Babe Ruth in our lifetime, but I don't think we'll see somebody like that. Listen, if this guy can hit a few more dingers over the course of the season, it's going to be pretty impressive. But he's not in that caliber yet. There's nobody that's in that caliber.
No, 3 dingers and 18 at-bats is phenomenal.
It's unbelievable.
And just the fact that he gets a bat. Now, when we do talk about Babe Ruth, we need to keep in mind Ruth ate hot dogs and drank beer and smoked. Totally different era. But he is the closest thing since then, and the fanfare for the Angels is well worth it and well worth the money they paid for it.
I want to see, what I'm hoping this is this spawns a new breed of pitchers and designated hitters. I'm hoping we see more of this.
You know what? I think more guys could do this. If you look at Madison Bumgarner, he hits homers all the time. But I think it's the GMs that are worried about the money is in the arms, and we don't want them to get hurt.
I get it, but you can't be so concerned about this kind of stuff. Like, let these guys do what they can do. People want to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
let them have fun.
Clayton Kershaw is an incredible pitcher. He's unbelievable, but I would watch this guy any day over Clayton Kershaw because I'm going to see him in 2 days go out there and possibly hit a home run.
Which is
as a
awesome.
DH.
Yeah. The San Antonio Spurs are heading to the playoffs for their 21st straight appearance. Lance, are the San Antonio Spurs a dynasty?
How many championships they won in that time, Kinger?
5.
How many have they won in a row, Kinger?
They have not won any. This is, don't go down this wormhole with me.
This is not a dynasty, is the answer. And the reason is, I believe you know somebody who has a similar stance as I do. You have to win at least 3 titles in a row to be considered a dynasty. At least, at minimum. You can't win 2 in a row and be like, we're a dynasty. Or, hey, we made the playoffs, but we got bumped out in the first round every single year for 35 years. It doesn't matter how many times you made the playoffs. I want to know how many championships you won. Have they won 3 in a row? No, they haven't. Have they won more than that? No, they haven't. Not a dynasty. That's all there is to it. Let's go to break because there's nothing else to talk about.
I feel like I'm in an argument with my little brother right now. They are a dynasty. They've been one of the best teams in the NBA.
They've been good.
For 20. They've been good. They won 5 championships in 21 years. They've been in the finals the whole time. And the thing that makes them a dynasty to me is every year they have a shot at winning. Now, you look at the coach being there for that long.
Every year, every team has a shot at winning. Every team that starts the season has a shot of winning.
Okay.
Every team. You can tell me that this year that the Philadelphia 76ers did not have a shot of winning?
Sure, they do. And they do have a shot at winning in the playoffs.
Every team does.
Okay, but the Spurs are always one of the top records. They won over 50 games, like 13 of those seasons.
Especially when you get to the postseason, those 16 teams definitely have a shot of winning.
This may be worse than arguing with my brother. I'm going to say it right now. Okay, listen to this. David Robinson, 14 years. Duncan, 19 years. Parker, 17 years. Ginobili, 16 years, all with the Spurs.
Cool.
How impressive is that core stayed together to make this dynasty?
You've coached Lakeland Rustlers basketball for 21 years, and you've made you've coached Lakeland Rustlers basketball for 25 years. You've made the postseason 21. You've won 3 times. You won 5 times. In the other 16 times you made the postseason, you were bumped in the first round. You're bumped in the opener of the ACAC conference title.
Sounds like my record.
Conference championships. Are you a dynasty?
Yeah.
No, you're not. You have to win the championship. You can't just get in the playoffs. That does not constitute a dynasty.
If you win 3 in 5 years, that's a dynasty.
What happened the other year? Did you make the postseason?
Yeah. Every year.
It doesn't matter. You have to win at least 3 in a row to be considered a dynasty.
It's hot in here.
We're back. You can keep your gloves on, but ours are off.
Albert joins us. We failed to mention off the top of the show, Kinger, that Josh Ryan is joining us in the next block after the next break. He's here to break down another play for us.
Exciting. I think we previewed it last week. Got everyone kind of excited about it.
We did mention it, yes. And we're also talking about Sports Movie Madness. A big week.
Yeah.
A big week pass for Sports Movie Madness.
Some happy and disappointed people.
Big time. So Josh is coming up. Sports Movie Madness is coming up. Albert is full of Humboldt tweets, so you can be rest assured there's going to be lots in here, and we're proud to bring them to you. Oh, you want to start it off, Kinger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Carter Brooks at CBrooksy84. A Let's Go Broncos chant breaks out at Bell's Place near the end of the Jets-Hawks game.
That's pretty impressive.
It's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
And we saw this during the Lloydminster vigil that happened this past week. So and that happened Monday, if I'm not mistaken, that vigil. So we saw that at the very end. One gentleman kind of said it, and everyone followed with it. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
And it is heartbreaking to see as well, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's truly heartbreaking. Ian Duffy at Duffy Global. So Ian Duffy is a guy I went to school with. He's a global sports reporter for Global Regina. Good guy. The rink is a magical place in Canada. It's where kids grow up, where dreams come true, where people go to escape the troubles of reality. And when tragedy strikes, it's where people go to unite and support each other. Tonight, the Moose Jaw Warriors and Swift Current Broncos honor the Humboldt Broncos. Swift Current Broncos pretty familiar with tragedy of their own 30 years ago. 4 killed in a bus accident.
You've got mail.
Yeah, eerily similar accident, unfortunately.
Sure.
Rash Madani, one of the toughest spots a broadcaster can be in. At Rogers Millions delivers by hitting the right notes in his questions to provide the Canadians some insight into the heart of Humboldt.
Yeah, it's interesting because, listening to, as someone who's out there, I had questions to ask as well at a few things. I didn't find it difficult, the questions to ask. I didn't find them difficult. I think they just kind of came naturally. And I think there's some reporters, and I'm not putting myself on a pedestal here at all, I think there's some reporters who don't struggle with that kind of thing. I think they find the right things. And I think there's some that have absolutely no idea what to do, and the stuff that comes out of their mouth is wrong, and I don't think they mean to. I think they just don't know what to ask and are not sure what to do, right? Okay, we put this one in, Kinger. It's changed. It's changed. This is from Renee Cannon, who billets three of these boys. Right. So Renee Cannon, at Renee Cannon, goodbye, my sweet sons. This is flat out heartbreaking when I first saw this on the 7th of April, which was Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Renee had thought that she had lost all 3 of her billets. It turns out she didn't. She lost 2. So left to right here, Logan Hunter is on the far left. Adam Harold, who was the youngest on the team, 16, were both killed. And that's Xavier LaBelle on the right, who they initially thought was deceased, and it turned out he was alive, and it was Parker Tobin that had actually died. So she did retain 1, although obviously Xavier will not be staying with her anytime soon. When I first read that, I think that was the first time that it kind of hit me, and I thought, holy cow, holy cow, like this is what we're dealing with.
And when you talk to hockey players, they speak so highly of their billet families and the experience and how tight. Usually they take care of the
It's like
billet.
second family.
Yeah, they have some relationship with the billet family's kids, and it's
unbelievable.
It's heartbreaking.
Oh, there's no words for it.
On a lighter note, we got Ryan Sklapski here, the Mayor of Lloydminster. I hope Pat King or Chris doesn't celebrate at Go Wrestlers women's basketball like that next season at Lance Phillips TV, Gloves TV, ankle breaker.
Did you see that Fino guy break? I thought he broke his ankle.
I
couldn't watch it. It was disgusting. And he popped it back in.
Dislocated it.
And put it back.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
And carried on.
Just leads you to believe if you're playing golf and you're going to roll your ankle jumping around, you should probably not.
Honestly, I didn't see it. I kind of caught a glimpse of it. But when I they're like, oh, it's tough to watch. I'm like, I'm not watching it. I can't watch it. It was flat out disgusting. Barstool Sports, who I have a very love-hate relationship with. I think their journalism is garbage.
Yeah.
It's not even journalism for that matter. But they do have some fun stuff in there. They have renewed my faith in them a little bit here. So this is Barstool Sports, at Barstool Sports. Saturdays are for the Humboldt Broncos. All proceeds to support the families of the Humboldt Broncos crash victims. Hashtag Humboldt Strong. So a link to buy t-shirts. Of course, Saturdays are for whatever it is with Barstool, and this one is Saturdays for the Broncos. I ordered one. I did order one.
Yeah. Classy act by the Barstool Sports people.
Yeah, and yeah, like I said, redeemed a bit of faith there with me. Anyways, I think that was a really great gesture from someone who an organization that frankly didn't need to do it.
Yes, exactly. Jared Youngman, at Jared Youngman. Tonight, at Utah Grizz honor Humboldt Broncos. The locker room is open, names on the stalls, 15 sticks, a bag of pucks, nets out, and leaving the lights on. Our hearts go out to the families in the community of Humboldt.
Yeah, so like all these names are on here with Bronco logos. This is really a classy move. And then, the scene here of, it took me a second to realize what those pucks look like.
The Humboldt H?
It's an H.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this thing with the sticks has gone crazy.
Yes.
And there is a tweet in here. I'm not sure if we'll get to it, but there is a tweet about this for sure. Zach Lang, some more on Humboldt Bronco Logan Boulay, who just signed his organ donor card on his 21st birthday from a family friend. So we're kind of going to go not through this whole thing, but there is a part that's really, really strong. Logan's strong heart continues to beat, allowing a surgical team from the U of A hospital to travel to Saskatoon for organ transplant procedures. There have been matches made for all vital organs, including a patient set to receive his heart and lungs. All counted. 6 people will receive the gift of life from Logan. The family will stay with Logan until the surgery begins around 2 a.m. I have no clue how those parents did that.
Absolutely amazing. Amazing gesture by the family and by him.
I don't know how as a parent you stand by. That would, I mean, I guess I do, but actually I don't have any idea. I can't fathom what that would have been like.
Yeah.
You're going to hang out till your son, who is technically gone,
and obviously
going to have all his organs removed.
That young man was extremely passionate in helping others, right?
No
and
joke.
that's a big piece we talk about a lot in our household, the organ donor thing. That's a huge piece for people. Bar Down, at Bar Down.
This is powerful.
Artist puts together beautiful pieces to memorialize Humboldt Broncos crash victims. More at Bar Down. It's a fantastic photo.
Yeah, it's incredible. I was just seeing what else we got here. I think we can bang one more out. So Ambrose M. Allen, I am Bros 8. We're not going to have time. We're not going to have time. But yeah, it's incredible what they've done. It's amazing how they have, what people have done with the sticks out and all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Truly touches everyone's heart.
If you can't score, you might as well drop the gloves.
Speaking of not scoring, we got a guy on deck who hasn't scored in a while.
yes, we do, but a fan favorite at that.
No, he is. I shouldn't do that. Josh, I'm gonna let Josh make fun of me from time to time. We're gonna welcome Josh Ryan back into the studio. How are you today, Josh?
What is that supposed to mean? Not scored in a while.
Check out that guy over his shoulder, eh? Just giving him the dirty eyeball. You see that guy?
I think Lance was referring to championship point. That's all he was talking about.
Championship point.
That's it.
Poor Cruz Cornell isn't scoring anytime soon.
I don't know if I was supposed to take that as a compliment that I'm a fan favorite or that I just can't seem to win.
That Japanese,
but it's great to be here. Thank you.
That Japanese coach is giving you the hairy eyeball.
Well, I mean, he likes to give people the hairy eyeball in general. I don't think he's a person who has anything outside of his hairy eyeball. I think his hairy eyeball 1 and slightly friendlier hairy eyeball number 2.
Looks like the other guy's trying to check out your earwax. He's having a little look at your earwax there.
Yes. Well, they're going to do a lot more animated things over the course of this.
Okay. What do we got?
Let's just say it's a war of attrition for the next 2 minutes of a video we're going to watch. So this is the doubles final of the All England Badminton Championships. The women's doubles final between a Japanese team, Sayaka Hirota, pardon me, Yuki Fukushima, that's the first team. Wow. And we'll see if I can get the second team right, Christina Pedersen and Camilla Ritter-Ewell.
Nails the name.
I think I got those correctly.
Bravo,
might not.
Sir.
There might be some slight problems with the accent, but we'll go with it. So,
right,
so we'll now.
get us going here.
So basically, let's play it, guys. You can play it right now. So this is 17-18.
Powerful point.
The Denmark team leads, and again, it's not like anything I think you've ever seen in sports.
Quit standing so weird behind that girl.
Well, she's out of the shot now, so. All right, so we'll get things started. First of all, I don't know anything about badminton. I'm just kidding.
Get the birdie over the net.
Oh, they got matching shoes.
So the game starts, and now you can pause it right here. First of all, already within 5 seconds, and it's absolutely incredible that they know where the lines are at all times. Their lines are 4 feet behind them, and yet they know if a birdie rather, is in or out.
Josh,
So
real quick question here.
Yes.
What's your stance on the matching shoes of the Danish team?
I'm not a big fan of matching shoes, to be honest. I think it's a little tacky, but I know volleyball and basketball players do that as well.
Confusion tactic, obviously, right? You
well,
see the blur of
that's
pink?
the sign of mental instability of the opponents if you can
so
only look at shoes.
Is this a case of mental warfare happening between these two teams already with the matching shoes?
It's a warfare of attrition, as you'll see over the next 2 minutes. We can play it now. So let the rally develop a little bit and go ahead and play it. So both teams are absolute ninjas in terms of their reaction time, as you can see.
Look at this sequence.
Very defensive by the Japanese team here.
And then it will switch right here, and now the Japanese team on the offensive. Great reach from the Danes, as you can see. Now pause it. I'm just going to take a preemptive drink of water because I think we'll all need a drink of water as this rally goes
Okay, well,
on.
you do that, Kinger. We're going to say that what are you most impressed with at this point?
The Japanese team's defense.
How
they
on
are just
earth-
popping it up.
How on earth did they block? Like, I don't even know what you call it, but they didn't block. How did they stop the birdie? Like, how did they keep the rally going at that? There was like 2 or 3 in a row that were just like bullets right at them.
When I'm assuming you haven't played too much badminton, but when it's hit that
I've
hard,
played badminton.
You literally don't have to do anything.
you
It
just hold your
you
racket.
they're just
You can go like this, I think, if you want to, right?
Yeah, no, fantastic hand-eye from the Japanese.
All right,
team.
Josh, what do you got?
All right, so we'll continue the rally now. Again, I think I gave the answer earlier, the ninjas, which explains the reaction time. Again, this is, I think, the highlight of the rally right there. Real good chance for the Japanese to win the rally that failed. And now over the next couple of seconds here, you can't quite hear the audio properly, but the crowd starts to get hopeful the rally might end, and it doesn't.
Because their heads start to spin.
Yeah, I think it's just too much to contemplate for everyone involved. And now pause it right there, pause it. So you can see on that last play there, pause it here, you can see in the last 2 plays, the Dutch at this point are really starting to fatigue. And that's why having a water ball nearby certainly would have helped in this case. You have a question?
We got a quick question here.
Yes.
Can you explain what the muscles in the neck, what's happening to the muscles in the neck of the fans that are watching this?
Spasming would be one word to use.
Okay.
Just it's an extreme example of concentration and focus, where the head is literally straining to contemplate what is going on in front of them. And that requires a good use of the neck muscle, something PJ Gardner probably knows a lot about, I'm
Now
sure.
listen, we have this shot we see right here that was just up there. Would you say that positioning is correct? Because it looks awfully weird to me. Maybe she's in the right position, but I'm not sure.
It's more of a neutral position. You know, you want to know what's going to happen next. If you stand on one side, I'm sure you could get picked apart quite easily. The same as in most sports. Or maybe, you know what, she doesn't like picking a side. She swings both ways. So.
She's trusting her partner.
She swings both ways.
All right, so
let's go back. We'll go back to that clip from earlier. So you can press play. And are we now at the beginning of the rally again, I believe? No, we're at the same spot. All right, so they're continuing to go. And yeah, you can see real fatigue showing up there on the Danes. Kind of really just lackadaisical hitting of the birdie there.
Can we pause it there for a sec, Josh?
Yeah, certainly.
I just wanted to know, are there either of the Danes that swing both ways?
At some points in the rally, they were flirting with the idea, but they decided against it and stuck to one side.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, press play again, fellas. And now you can see the Japanese also starting to tire. There, pause it right there. That opportunity was the Japanese best of the match. And had they won that, or struck it a little better, they would have won the point, would have tied it at 18, and then it's a different case. But as you can see, they didn't place it difficult enough, and they're going to pay for it in the next couple
real
seconds.
quick.
Yes.
With your vast experience in badminton.
If you can call it vast, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would call it vast, you know.
Yeah.
There's
We'll
three
give
of us
it to
in the
you.
room, including Jim. I would say, you know, between the four of us, you know, it's vast.
I'll take that as a compliment.
So what did they do in terms of positioning that didn't work at that exact moment of the match?
Well, first of all, if you go back to this image, so the play right before from this Danish player, she had given a bit of a softer lob, so didn't push the player back as deep. And
Can
as
we
a result,
rewind it to that point? Guys, are you able to rewind it a little bit
You can rewind
to
it
that point?
maybe a second or two. It's not much. So just there, right there.
Okay.
So now play here.
Oh, yes.
And you can
it was
see
a defensive play.
So stop
Yeah.
right there. As you can see, that was very lackadaisical, that motion, and she was very deep on the court. If the
Right.
Japanese player had played it a little shorter, then that puts the Danes really on the offensive, and that focuses the rally. At this point, I think they were both just too tired to continue.
Right, right.
If you
So-
hear the audience
and
is
that's-
getting hopeful that it'll
So
end
is this
as well.
where things change drastically?
Yes, so now go ahead and play it, and you can see Ewell from the Danish team. Nice stretch to get the ball and play there. Again, could have put it in a little more difficult, and she decides, you know what, I have a concert to go to this evening. I'm just going to get rid of, get this done. Now let's rewind it again. Let's see this again. You can see the exact moment as, rewind it about 5 seconds, a little bit. There, right there. Now she's going to reach there. You can see her in her, pause it. You can see at this point she's already thinking, you know what, again, I have a concert. I think it was Bieber was playing that night, and I really need to get to, I need to shower and everything. Let's end the match right now. This has taken way too long. And as you can see play, she immediately just decides, you know what, the heck with this rally. Press play here. And just ends things right away.
Ah, and it's over. It's over.
And it's all
Heartbreak for the Japanese side.
And that's
and you can see,
1 point.
pause, rewind actually just 2 seconds. Because
Can
I'd
we go
like
back
to
to
see.
that coach? What's that coach pointing finger at?
Yeah, press play and then get ready to pause in 3, 2, and 1.
Bang. What?
This is a man
Josh
who
has
means
it timed
business.
out. Josh has got it timed right out.
That is a man who means absolute business. You don't want your child to be coached by him, I feel like. There's not going to be much joy in those practices.
He's
but,
dead serious there.
He is
isn't
very
Like,
dead
he is
serious.
not
And likely
messing
he's
around.
played a big role in getting these ladies ready for this.
It looks
Josh,
like
that's not what I assume a badminton coach looks at. Those two look like they should be at the pub playing darts against me and Lance.
That's true.
not what a badminton
losing.
coach.
They should be losing against you.
And if you'll notice from
We're
the beginning
mobsters.
of the clip when we first started it, the coach on the left is the serious one with the serious point,
Yes.
and the coach on the other side is a little more calm, much like the Japanese coaches who
Yes.
were trying to pick my ear earlier. So now we can play from here and just bask in a little bit of
and there's
the
the
celebratory.
celebration.
You can see that the Danes, they aren't even enjoying the fact that they won the most epic badminton rally of all time because they don't have the energy to continue.
Little replay action here. That's that stretch, a beautiful stretch.
I'll tell you what, the bird was in the alley in the middle too much, wasn't it, Josh?
It was a little bit, especially at the end, as again you saw after the stretch from Ewell, the next birdie played at Pedersen is just not difficult enough for her.
Birdie play. The birdie play.
Yeah, very important birdie play.
Well, listen, Josh, again, fantastic work breaking down this exciting badminton rally.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate given the chance to do badminton, something that I clearly do all the time
All right.
outside of the show.
Josh Ryan, everybody.
Thanks,
Josh
Josh.
Ryan, everybody. I love having that man on.
He's great work.
He's fantastic with that, isn't he?
Yeah.
We're back, and the gloves are still off.
How about that Josh Ryan guy?
He's good
on
at
it.
what he does.
He is good. I love it. I think we have another segment coming up, like not this show, of course, maybe in a couple of weeks we'll have Josh back. He's got some other tricks up his sleeve.
I assume he's been planning and plotting
Oh,
for what
is.
he's going to present.
Yeah. Oh no, he's got some good stuff on tap. Okay, we're moving on to 2018 Sports Movie Madness, which we're pretty excited about.
Yes.
I don't know if we were as excited about what happened this week.
Not excited.
Not excited.
On a personal level.
I think it's safe to say that, I'm a big fan of kind of more dramatic style movies. I'm not into, cartoony
You don't like
type
cartoons.
movies. I'm not into like the Disney style, it's just not my
The
thing.
feel good. You don't like
Yeah.
the feel good stuff.
I don't mind the feel good stuff. Like The Blind Side coming up this week is a feel good that I like.
Right.
Okay, but let's talk about what happened this week. Because it was downright,
Upset City.
it was Upset City. It was Upset City. So we started off, Kinger, with what happened in the number 1 versus 8 battle.
So 1 versus 8, we had Space Jam versus Hoosiers. Space Jam, I don't know how, but they did 52% of the vote, so they're moving on. Secondly, we had Rocky versus Tin Cup on the lower side of the bracket.
Oh, that were a 4-5.
4-5.
So there's some
4-5.
juggernaut 4-5 matchups.
Yes, everyone seems to point out.
Yes.
They love the 4-5 matchups.
This is true.
And Rocky ran away with that.
Yes.
78% of the popular vote.
I didn't expect that to be the case. I didn't expect Rocky to take off like that with that. I figured Rocky would beat Tin Cup, just given the area. I feel like it's a Rocky-ish style.
It's a boxing area.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
right? But that was way more than I expected.
Yeah, runaway. That's our biggest margin so far.
It is. Now, we also had, in the 2 versus 7, this was a bit of a shocker. Jerry Maguire was beat by the Mighty Ducks. The Mighty Ducks took 60% of the vote. And it came down to the wire because it was, I believe it was Tuesday morning, and it still had, Jerry Maguire still held the lead. There were some votes that came in late and pushed the Mighty Ducks over the edge. That one's disappointing.
Someone called their friends, is what happened. Hey, we got to get our votes in. We got to get our votes in.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what happened.
For sure. And then in the 3 versus 6, Miracle on Ice, Miracle, however you want to say it, got beat down. Their ice melted, actually, is what happened. The Waterboy, which I don't have a problem with this as much. Waterboy taking 58% of the vote. Waterboy is a heck of a movie.
It's funny.
It's a heck of a movie, so I don't have a bigger problem with that. That's a good one.
Yeah, you could argue upsets all around
You could.
in that bracket.
You could.
Which makes that
depending
bracket.
on who you talk to.
Yeah, and makes that bracket scary going forward.
If you're talking to, say, your daughter, who's what, like 3?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, then
next week,
then it's not upset, right? Space Jam and all those other ones.
Yes,
That's
for
not an upset at all,
yeah,
is it?
Yeah, those are number 1 and 2. Yeah.
Okay, this week we have more of a juggernaut in the 4-5 position.
Yes.
So first of all, just going back to last week, so that means coming up shortly will be Rocky versus Space Jam and Waterboy and Mighty Ducks. So this week, we've got Remember the Titans in the 1 spot facing off against Love and Basketball in the 8. Who do you like here?
Remember the Titans is going to win this.
You'd think so. But we also said that about
I'm
some
a
of those
big
movies.
fan of Love and Basketball, obviously being a basketball guy, and I got a soft spot for those type of stories.
Right.
So the juggernaut is next on that side of the bracket.
Well, listen, we also thought that Hoosiers was going to take a victory.
Well,
A
I
big
thought
one.
they're going to make a deep run.
Right. So I've got Remember the Titans as well. In
Okay.
the second, we've got the Canadian classic Caddyshack facing off against the Karate Kid. I got to go with Caddyshack here. It is an absolute classic.
I'm a Caddyshack guy too, but Karate Kid was pretty generational. Like
It was.
all of us that grew up in the 80s
Yep, for sure.
probably watched that movie 100 times.
I've
plus.
watched it a few times. It's definitely a good movie. In the you take over at the number 3 spot. 3-6.
Hey, the number 3, 3-6, baseball, Field of Dreams and Sandlot.
That's an all ball movie.
Both very good movies. Personal level, Field of Dreams for me. Kevin Costner is lights out.
I would take Field of Dreams as well.
But-
It's a pretty solid movie.
Sandlot's,
If you build it, they will come.
yeah, Sandlot's good though.
We also thought that about the show, and it didn't work that way.
Yeah.
If we build it, they will come. Hasn't worked.
It's coming.
I think all 7 of our viewers are watching.
By the end of this March Madness bracket, we're going to have 500 plus votes.
Right. All right, we got 30 seconds left. In the Juggernaut 4-5, it's the Blind Side versus Moneyball. Moneyball's the 5, the Blind Side is the 4. I'm glad I don't have to vote on this stuff, but I gotta believe Moneyball would win this.
Moneyball. That's my vote.
Polls are open. The polls are open. Get your votes in. Have your say on who goes on in 2018 Sports Movie Madness.
It's not about the lead, it's about the finish.
Oh, it totally is about the finish. And Humboldt, we're talking about the Humboldt Broncos. That is coming up next.
We're back. You can keep your gloves on, but ours are off.
Welcome back, sports fans. So we mentioned off the top of the show, we were going to talk a little bit about the Humboldt Broncos tragedy because it hits home for a lot of people, especially a guy like you, Kinger, who your team rides a bus continually to and from home on the road. We talked about this before, but what kind of things went through your mind when you first found out about this as somebody who rides the bus regularly?
Well, my first thought was the poor players involved, obviously, and we talked about this. What happens on the bus, it's such a place for the team to bond, and guys would be sleeping and listening to music. And so my first thoughts went out to them, and then immediately you think about how many people are involved in each athlete's life to get them to that level, and all those people that trust that their kids are safe playing their sports wherever it is, and the amount of hours that people spend on the road. It was very overwhelming for myself.
When it first came down the pipe on Friday night, it came and said, no, there are multiple fatalities. So multiple to me means 3 or more.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's, a bus hit a truck. I'm thinking maybe there's 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that. And then you see the picture of the bus and you realize nobody stood a chance at the front of that bus.
Yeah.
And it's tough to watch. And I, speaking to just some of the Bobcats players in town, it hits them really hard, I think, because like you, they ride these buses all the time. And around here, you're not riding a bus for 15 minutes. Like where I grew up, you're maybe a 20-minute bus ride, 40 at the most, and you're traveling to all kinds of different places. Here, it's 2 hours, 3 hours, 8 for Grand Prairie.
Yeah,
it's not close. You're on it a long time.
And the leagues are so big, the SJ, the AJ, the WHL, and even like college, you like you said, you're traveling for a long, long time on the bus. And there's times where you wake up and it's snowing, or you're on a rumble strip, or there's an animal, or you're going 40. These things happen with travel and with amateur sports, right? No one's professionals really get to fly.
And it's tough too this time of year with hockey and basketball all played through the winter, and we know around here the road conditions are not great at the best of times during the winter, right?
Yeah.
You've got a lot of icy roads, a lot of, because it's a vast area to cover.
Yeah, and I do know this will probably lead to some change in safety measures. I would assume this happened years ago when a 15-passenger van rolled over with the basketball team in it, and now those were not allowed to be drove at post-secondary. So unfortunately, these events do happen. You don't want to see it for anyone, anywhere, and all you can think about is now, Humboldt being a small community, how does that community rebuild its hockey programs, and the families pick up the pieces, losing all those young men.
And a couple players on your team from Humboldt.
Yes.
Angela Barron, who I talked to, didn't know many of the players because she was a bit ahead of them, some of those local players. But Brianne Hergut does know some of those players.
Yeah.
And she really went through some tough times. How is she coping?
Yeah, it's tough on Bri. I saw her yesterday morning. We had a big hug. She was wearing her Humboldt Strong shirt. There's not a lot you can say in those moments. I know because she was close to the community and a lot of the players and people involved, there's not much you can say.
She's right around their age group.
Yeah, she's right in their age group, right? And it's going to be a long-term healing process for everyone involved. But she was very happy to be back there at the ceremony and be a part of that.
So what, the other thing too is the SJHL has made the point that they're not making the decision on what happens at the rest of the season. I don't know how you make that decision. I have no idea. I mean, they're leaving it kind of up to the Humboldt Broncos, and I would guess Estevan and Nipawin. But if you're what do you think you would do in that situation if you're the coach of any of those teams or you're the president of any of those teams? What do you think you'd do? It's a tough call because on one hand I think if I'm those players, I would probably want it to go on.
Right.
But can you speak for them? That's a really tough call to make, right?
No, you can't, especially this time in the tragedy. I don't think you can speak for them. Now, obviously, I understand next year them wanting to have the team playing and being back on their feet. But in terms of the playoffs, at personal level, I would probably feel more comfortable shutting it down, just for respect out of the people involved.
It's a tough go. These teams are, the Estevan Bruins have had a great season.
Mm-hmm.
The Nipawin Hawks probably win that series. They were up 3-1 at the time.
Right.
I think I'm with you there. If I'm coaching or I'm part of those other teams, I'm probably saying, you know what, there's more to life than winning and losing, and this is important that we shut it down. And whoever, I believe it might have been Flin Flon from Manitoba who was getting through on the other side, they would have faced. So, it's a hard thing, and I haven't been choked up a lot, but I was a few times over the course of the last few days.
All the tweets, all the pictures that came out, and instantly it kind of took your breath away.
We are going to take a moment. You can see our sticks are out for the boys. Tyler's going to want to call the game, so there's a headset for him. There's some pen and paper for Brody and Coach to make some notes, and the sunglasses are for driver Glenn Dorkson. The sun will always be in his face. We're going to observe a moment of silence. We hope you join us.